So it looks like NASA, everybody's favorite film production company as well as money laundering organization, and the media are starting to have to save face for lying to everybody about climate change all these years. This article just came out the other day, says NASA predicts ice age with dead sun, sparking fears Earth temperatures to plunge. Well, wouldn't you know it, surprise, surprise. And of course they're still going to push the climate change lie because it's a great money grab and it's a great power grab for them, and we'll get into that more in a little bit. But first, let's just read a few things from this article. So it states here, that's the warning from a NASA scientist who said sunspot activity on the surface of the star has dropped so low that it could herald the arrival of a grim mini ice age. Well, what do you know? We see a cooling trend. Martin Mlinkazak of NASA's Langley Research Center told Space Weather, high above Earth's surface, near the edge of space, our atmosphere is losing heat energy. If current trends continue, it could soon set a space age record for cold. He later goes on to say that it could happen in just a matter of months, which we are entering the grand solar minimum right now, so that is why we're seeing these record lows and record colds. And in the end of the article, he just talks about how we could see earlier frosts, increased chance of snow, colder temperatures generally. It's just funny because they lie to us nonstop about the global warming hoax, and then they come out and they start to have to save their face on the matter. People these days will believe anything that's told to them if it's told to them that a scientist figured it out. That's just how people are these days. They don't understand the fact that people who are evil and control the world and control the news, these people are no different than the old dictators of the past who were evil, killing people. They're no different. It's just people these days are so brainwashed that they don't even have to force their opinions on anybody. They don't have to start killing people and putting them in graves because people willingly accept this stuff. They're willingly poisoned. They willingly accept all the 5G and every other weapon pointed right at our heads. And that's just how people are. Kind of like this article from Scientific American. If carbon dioxide makes up only a minute portion of the atmosphere, how can global warming be traced to it? And how can such a tiny amount of change produce such large effects? Great question, but everything that follows after that will be lies to tell you that you need to pay your carbon tax, pay your global warming fees, get jammed into Agenda 21 cities, and just trust Big Brother because they know what's best. Kind of like this article as well that was just out recently. I mean, they pump out these articles on global warming. It's like the biggest cash cow you could ever imagine. I mean, there's like hundreds of them, if not thousands, written every single day. This one here, where they're trying to cover for themselves as well, says why cold weather doesn't mean climate change is fake. It's just funny down here. It's so 1984 and people eat this stuff up. How warming can lead to cooling. How warming can lead to cooling. Freedom is slavery, war is peace, and ignorance is strength. I mean, it's straight out of 1984 and people eat this stuff up. In this article by National Geographic, it says, while North America was seeing record lows and record snows, the rest of the world was, pretty hot actually. But that's just not the case. When we look at what's actually going on, here's a blog written by a girl who lives in Saudi Arabia showing heavy rains and heavy snow in Saudi Arabia. In the blog, she says it was announced last night that Thursday classes for schools and other academic institutions would be canceled due to extremely cold weather. And funny at the bottom, it says, are we still in the Middle East though? Of course, National Geographic will not mention that. They're a propaganda machine just like the rest of them. Or how about this? Missile fire can't dampen Israel's winter wonderland with record snow on Herman. Climate change and global warming is a complete lie. It is a money grab, it's a cash cow, and it is a power grab. Earth's temperature is based off of sunspots. It's not based off of, just like that one article said, the minute amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. A warming, heating Earth should not be causing record snows and record cold temperatures all across the entire world. It's funny as well as how some of these articles, they don't even include the important part in the article in their title because they're still going to want to be pushing their mainstream global warming climate change agendas, and so they don't even add in the most important parts of their articles. Like this one here, written, heavy snows came, cold temperatures stayed. But in the article, which is much more interesting and would be a much more interesting title, is that the daily record snowfall for January 19th was broken with 7.8 inches of accumulation, beating the previous record of 6.3 inches set in 1884. That's way more interesting. That's a lot more interesting. A lot more people would be more interested in that than just heavy snows came, cold temps stayed. Or the same thing with this article. Heavy snow paralyzes life in GB. But then we look down here and see that record snowfall in Gilgit-Baltistan that continued on Thursday brought activities of daily life to a standstill in the region. So we have record snow, but of course it just says heavy snowfall. There's a reason for that. It's because they're not going to include the most important information because they want to continue to push their climate change lie because it makes them money. That's all this is, money and power. Climate change is money and power. That's what it is. Look at the Agenda 21 map for America, and that's these people who run who run America, who run all these nations, these Luciferians who are in secret societies. It's a global thing. Just because something goes on here, something's going on there, they test it out everywhere. It will eventually fall under a one world government, one world system. Here's some more interesting articles. Coldest Ottawa snowstorm in more than 100 years. This is from Monday, January 21st, 2019. And here in January 15th, 2019, thousands of snow removal trucks plow roads after monster blizzard. Another title where they just don't include the most important information, as we can find down a little bit farther that the blizzard is considered the worst combination of snow and cold Montreal has seen in 100 years. Doesn't sound like the earth is warming up to me, but of course they'll tell you that freedom is slavery and peace is war and cooling means warming. It's 1984. It's unbelievable that people are so asleep these days. And when you just type record low temperatures into the Google search, you will see that 6 hours ago, here we see be prepared near record low temperatures next week for Des Moines, Iowa, as well as Madison sets new record low, a winter storm and more dangerous cold on the way for Wisconsin. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that people buy into the climate change lie. It's such a lie. I've always known it was a lie, and then now learning the fact that the Earth's temperature is actually based off of sun and sunspots, they lie on every single level. There's nothing that we are told in mainstream news that is not a lie. These are all local news people reporting about temperatures that are buried on the web. If you try to even look up this stuff, you won't even find the information you need. All you'll get is garbage nonsense like what's coming from National Geographic and all these climate change, global warming cash cow sources. It's just unreal. But a great resource, which is where I find most of these articles, is icegenow.info, where you can actually find what's actually going on in the world. You can actually see a great collection of what's actually going on that you would just normally only hear if you were living in that specific region, and people wouldn't think twice because 90% of everything else they hear is global warming, climate change, give us your money, go into the cities, force Agenda 21, just like... It's unreal. Every single thing is a lie these days. If it's mainstream, it's a lie. If they're pushing it in your face nonstop, you gotta wonder why. And of course, if you can see an outcome where they get more control or they get more money on top of what they already get from us out of the taxes that are absolutely ridiculous, if you see that stuff taking place, then you gotta know, and there's probably something worth looking into what's actually going on, because it's most likely a complete fabricated lie for money and power. So I found it just funny that this at least somewhat mainstream, I guess you could say, news source, the Daily Star, puts out this NASA predicts ice age with dead sun sparking fears, Earth temperatures to plunge. It's just funny that they're starting to have to do that, and they're going to have to continue to cover up for all the lies that they've been drowning the public with on the climate change and global warming. But I can promise you and guarantee you that what it will be is you'll get more 1984 articles like why cold weather doesn't mean climate change is fake. That's exactly what you're getting. You're going to get more war is peace, freedom is slavery type of articles that are just complete nonsense lies to keep the climate change fear alive, because Well, it fills their pockets, and there's a very easy way to gain control when you have to say everything, every little thing that people are doing is bad and needs to be controlled because it's ruining the climate. It's just such a joke. Listen, none of this stuff is going to end. The Earth isn't going to end due to climate change, and it's not going to end due to the mini ice age. If you want to know how the world is truly going to end and things to actually be looking for, I mean, being prepared for the mini ice age is a good thing, because I believe we're going into that, and food prices could very potentially rise, as well as colder temperatures. Just be prepared for that. But on top of that, if you truly want to know, it's Bible prophecy. Every single one that was written for the past has been fulfilled. If you do the research, you'll find that out. There's a reason why that's also not widely known, because they don't want you to know who you truly are and your true purpose. But yeah, if you want to know what's really going to be going on into the future, and it will be a complete control and complete money grab, and you won't be buying or selling or nothing unless you're falling under the rule of the Antichrist. That's where we are headed. And yeah, look at Bible prophecy to find what's truly true. Every other one has been fulfilled. So keep your eye out, search out the matters for yourself, and do not believe what known liars such as the mainstream media tell you. That's just an all-around bad decision. Seek and accept the Lord Jesus Christ for true salvation and peace in this world. And thanks for watching. God bless.